The trend is your friend. Today is July 31st, and I'm looking at the futures this morning, and we're up, a little bit. And again, not maybe 0.5% or something like that on all the indices. And this is after the Wednesday. This is the Friday after when War spoke, obviously on Wednesday. And obviously, I guess the traders got upset or something. They didn't hear what they wanted to hear, and had a 1,200 point sell off, and it actually made a lot of people that were short the market, pretty excited about the fact that they thought this was going to continue going down. And it's interesting because I saw people around me actually shorting the market. If they're doing for a short-term move, and I get it, but in other words, a lot of people are already saying that this was the top and it's over, and we saw the top and it's continuing going down now. And even now on this bounce that we're getting, it's a dead cat bounce. And, they could be right. I have no idea, and that's pretty much always the way I operate, not knowing. And I just work with my system and do it mechanically, so to speak. But along the way, it's just interesting to me that I'm saying the indices are down about 1%, 2%, 3%. Obviously, the Nasdaq's down about 10%. If you look at like the semiconductor index, which is a special interest to me right now since it's got hit so hard, I guess what? It's down from 650, we'll call it, 700, down to like 450, 400. So you're talking about a 200-point move on that. So let's say 30% on the SMH. So what I'm doing actually is rotating out of some of the winners that I had that I was taking some wins on and rotating into things that are undervalued now or cheap, or what I think are undervalued or cheap. But to say that the uptrend is over, I think you're jumping ahead of the game considering the major indices are only down about 3 or 4%. So I don't know why people want to actually get that conclusion from a 2 or 3 or 4% correction or sell-off, and to go in hard. So just something I'm paying attention to, because obviously if the trend is your friend, and even when we were moving up, we didn't see any type of we didn't see any like real emotion to the upside. Obviously we're hitting new highs every day, so people think that people are emotional about where we're at in the market. But unless you're around during those peaks in 2007 and 2001 with the internet bubble, you don't know what it really feels like, because what's happening is that stocks are moving so aggressively that people did not see it ever being able to come down. And that's the difference now. Anytime we get a little bit of a sell-off, it's like people are really quick to jump on the short wagon or it's over wagon. And it's so crazy that it happens so quickly that people are not tied to the upside. And I know what that's like. And, I'm only doing this because if somebody could get something from it, it would be great. Because if I had somebody that I could talk to when I was a kid, and I would have been able to actually get a lot from this, only because... So when we were going into 2001 market, I'm shorting because it was so high, and I'm shorting into 2010 market. And me not realizing that, in other words, no, just because we're down a little bit and it looks like we're having a correction doesn't mean that this is going to continue going. So one of the things that I use, and the people around me use, is the IBD, the distribution days. And that's been really strong lately as far as a lot of distribution days. And when that happens, it does tend to get negative in the market. And if you're going in for a short-term play, I think that's a really, that's a good thing to do, especially very bold. And if you're a trader and you know how to actually buy options and, limit your risk and hedge a little bit, then fine. If you want to do that, I get it. But to say it's over and start loading up, and I don't think we're anywhere near that yet. I don't know. The trend is up, though, and I want to stick with the trend as long as possible. And if the trend is going to have to actually show itself up more than just a 2 or 3 point sell-off. I can't say we're down 3%, all of a sudden it's over. I'm like, no, that's not enough. Number one, it's not enough. And number two, I'm not seeing the culture accept that the market can't go down or can't go up anymore. Like, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that the culture right now is still like on edge, and it's not on board to where this is a perpetual bull market. And when you see that aggressive attitude, that's when you want to actually be a little bit more cautious and pull in your reins. And right now, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not seeing that. So in the meantime, while everybody else shorting the market, to me, the trend is your friend, and I'm not shorting against this pullback. What I'm doing, I'm going to buy into it. And I know the buy the effing dips is, obviously the big statement, and that's not what I do. I'm buying it. I'm buying the rotation. I'm not buying the dips in if I'm selling out of maybe my SPY position or SPY or my Q position or something like that, what I'm doing, I'm rotating into things that had a sell-off that were even stronger. And maybe that's the right move or not the not the right move, but that's what I'm doing. So I thought I'd share that. Thanks.